Well, good morning, church.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good.
And a huge congratulations to our graduates, the ones that are here, the ones that are going to be in the next service, and the ones that are probably going to watch at some point in time. I'm excited to have the opportunity to speak to you on Graduation Sunday. We normally choose someone younger and hipper to do this particular Sunday, but with Jake's father's passing this past week and Grayson Williams, our middle school student pastor, because of his fashion sense, we couldn't allow him up on the stage. I don't know if he has pants or not. But don't worry, I've done my research, Haley. I've done it. I tried to get up with the lingo a little bit. USA Today recently posted an article to help parents navigate their teens' language and speak. The article was called "It's Lit: The Ultimate Guide to Decoding Your Teens' Text and Speak." So I've brushed up a little just for you guys. I think I've practiced enough now where it's not going to be too cringy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to try to be extra. I'm finna lay a lesson on y'all. See that? Should I stop? I feel like I should stop. Bet. Okay. Oh, God. This morning I want to take the opportunity to address the graduates and anyone else who is really getting started, at the beginning of a journey. I want to talk to you graduates because you're at the beginning of this great big journey. The adventure is in front of you. Your entire future is in front of you. And there are some of us in here that may be envious of that. And there are others who are not, because we know what that means. We know what's coming. But I don't want this message to just engage the high school graduates. I also want to include all of our 20-somethings that are here. We have a lot of 20-something-year-old people that are part of Golden Corner Church, and you're in that stage of life too where you're trying to build your life. You're making decisions about careers and spouses and children and where you're going to go and where you're going to be, and so you're making all these big decisions too. So I think this message applies to you. But also, I don't want to leave out anyone who's at a restart or a new beginning. Maybe you've made a major life change or you're about to start onto a new journey, because I believe what I'm going to share this morning applies to you too. So there's some people in here that you feel like that it fits you, right? So I know that each one of you, graduates, 20-somethings, those of you who are at a restart or a new beginning, each one of you, I'll just say it like this. Y'all may not know this about me, but I'm kind of a psychic. Can you be kind of a psychic? I don't know. I'm kind of one. Like, for instance, I know what Dan's thinking right now. Dan's thinking about donuts. Dan says he's not. I also know that Dan's a liar. No. Okay, maybe I'm not a psychic, but I think I know what each one of you may be thinking, and it probably goes something like this. Please, God, just let me be successful. Please, God, just help me have a good life. Please, God, let me be happy. Help me do a good job. Give me money, lots and lots of money, God. Maybe you're not saying those exact words, but I know what you're feeling at the beginning of this new journey as you're graduating high school and you're about to step out into college or career or whatever it is you're doing, a restart, new beginning, 20-somethings. You're all thinking, just please, God, don't let me mess this up, right? I feel like that's what a lot of you are saying, and I hear you, I feel you, I agree with you. Could I by chance fill you in on a little secret? This is kind of the lesson today. It's right here at the very beginning, something that I've discovered in life. To the greatest degree, the quality of your life will be determined by the decisions you make. All right, so I got a bunch of agreeers in here. I appreciate that. To the greatest degree, the quality of your life will be determined by the decisions that you make. And when I'm saying decisions, I mean the decisions that you make. I'm not talking about one or two major decisions. I'm talking about every decision that you make will determine the quality of life. For the vast majority of people, the quality of their life, good, bad, or ugly, is determined by the decisions they make. Your decisions will determine the quality of your life. I believe that to be a fact, a sure fact. And I know there's some of you right now, you're thinking to yourself, you're going, yeah, Tim, but there's a lot of factors that affect life, right? There's other things that affect life that are outside of our control. There will be, and I will admit that, there will be conditions, there will be circumstances or situations that are outside of your control. I believe that with all of my heart. Other people and their decisions will inherently affect your life as well. That could be your parents, or that could be your family, or your bosses, or your friends, or your own children one day. I believe that. Something could happen. You could get sick. You could be cheated. You'll probably experience hurt of some kind. You could be treated terribly by somebody. You could even experience an awful tragedy. As a matter of fact, from this stage, Ronnie and I have taught for years that each one of us is promised those things to happen in our life. Some version of those things is going to happen in all of our lives. I believe all that to be true. But what I'm discussing today, what I want to share with you graduates and everyone else, is the quality of your life. That's what I'm talking about, the day-to-day. How you feel, your success, your fulfillment, the influence that you have, it will be determined by each decision, by many of the decisions that you make. Now, I don't want you to think for a second that this is only coming from my warped, intense, optimistic, positive, can-do attitude that is me, okay? I don't want y'all to think that this is just coming from me. I believe that I have to share that this is coming not just from my life, but I believe the Bible teaches this as well. Can I tell you about one instance in the Bible? I'll do it super quick. Y'all ready? Yes. One instance in the Bible, the story of Joseph. If you look at Joseph's life, Joseph experienced terrible circumstances. He was left for dead by his own brothers. He was sold into slavery by those brothers. He was fraudulently accused by his boss's wife of rape because she had a vendetta against him and she was a bad person. He was thrown into prison, left there, and then he was forgotten by someone who promised to help him. And he had to stay there for years. Joseph experienced terrible circumstances, had constant run-ins with bad people in his life, yet at every single point in his life, if you were just to pick it apart and you were just to read his story, which I would strongly suggest you do, what you will discover is Joseph appeared to be well-adjusted, effective, successful. His quality of life seemed to be good. He seemed to be respected everywhere he was. He seemed to get things done. Eventually, he was insanely successful at being like the second in control of the civilized world at the time, the second man down. He was living his #best life eventually. Why? I believe his daily decisions that he made when he was a slave and when he was a prisoner, when he was forgotten, it led to his incredible quality of life. And eventually it led to where he ended up. I believe Joseph recognized a fundamental fact of life. That is, regardless of the situation, the placement, and the people that we're surrounded with, our life is greatly determined by the decisions we make. So Joseph did this. He did his best to make the most out of wherever he was and whatever he was doing. That's a quick Bible story, right? He did his best to make the most out of wherever he was and whatever it was he was doing. All right, that's straight fire. That's what they say, right? Straight fire. That's good. I don't know. I felt like it was. Knowing this is something that is supported biblically and something that I have witnessed firsthand in my life, what I would like to do this morning, and I would like to help you head off some bad decisions by sharing some bad decisions I've made in my life, and especially at that stage right after high school. Could I share them with you? Y'all interested in hearing a few stories this morning? Okay, good. I graduated in 2003. No scoffs. Good, thank you. I graduated in 2003, and when I graduated, just a couple weeks after graduation, I moved out, and I bought an 11 by 42 trailer and rented a lot. I did. 11 by 40. Y'all familiar with sizes here, kids? 11 foot by 42 foot wide trailer. That's what I was living in. I could give you the tour in 4 easy steps. Okay, that's not figurative steps. Those are literal steps, okay? I could literally be like, this is my living room. This is my kitchen. This is the toilet. This is what my house was like. So I moved out, I got that, and it was a good step for me. I was working basically full time. I was commuting to college. I had some money in the bank, and I had all my own bills. I had a truck payment. I had a power bill. I had a cell phone. I had a water. They had cell phones back then. They had a water bill, gas bill, school bills, girlfriend, and a hunting problem. I had all those things. Okay. And when I moved out, my mom, she was worried to death about me, and so she has helped me get settled. And one of the things that she did was she got a binder for me. And it was a blue binder, and I still see it in my mind. She wrote like TA's bills or something on the front of it. And she took this binder and she color-coded it, and she put in all kinds of dividers and folders. And then she started putting my bills in there, and she was like, honey, this, So she got it all set up, and she put a checking log in so that when I wrote checks, not only did I have my checkbook that I wrote my bills for, but I had this checking log so I could really maintain my money. And so she handed me this binder, and I'll never forget the day that, I moved in, and she left, and she drove away. Like, we sat there in my living / bathroom / kitchen, and she went through how to use this binder. I mean, she was like, this is what I would do. I would sit down every month. I would do this and that. She explained it to me. I'll never forget that, the time that she took with that. And I'll also never forget that as she walked out the door, I took that 3-ring binder and I chunked it under a shelf. And I said, I'm going to do this my way. And I never looked at it again. I'm not kidding. That's exactly what I did. I chunked the binder away and I never looked at it again. Oh, she's listening. She's probably mad at me right now. But that's what I did. I just was like, man, I'm going to do this on my own. I'm out on my own. That was a bad decision. Y'all with me? That was a bad decision, guys. My money management was not so good early on. I remember overdrafting. I paid late fees. I even ran out of gas on the way home one day with a friend because I didn't have any money in the checking account. I remember all these things happen, these embarrassing things happen. There was so much stress, and there was so much worry, and there was so much difficulty of all these things that I went through. And I believe now, looking back, that the old 3-ring binder might have helped. It might have been something that could have been useful, but I wanted to do it all. So that was a bad decision. You got it? So that's a bad decision 1. Got it? Everybody good? The shelf I chunked it under. I still remember that shelf in the trailer. It was right there in that, they call it a hallway, but it's really just a couple inches where this shelf sat, and it sat right there, right as you were headed into that little hallway where the bathroom was. And when I bought this trailer, I bought it fully furnished, okay? So, apparently the guy that I bought it from, he was getting married. He was a bachelor, had been bacheloring up in this place, and he was getting married, and the woman that he was marrying wanted none of his things. I'm not kidding. So he left everything. I'm talking about Tupperware, dishes in the sink. There were still dirty dishes in the sink when he left. Like it was just the way we lived. He even left his toenail clippers in a bowl. That was great. I was glad he did that. I didn't have any. So all I moved in, seriously, true story, all I moved in was my bed and my clothes. That was it. He left everything. This guy, he left a rifle in the corner of the closet, and I called him about it. He was like, I don't even know what you're talking about, man. I was like, all right. So, it was a crazy situation. It was just the way it was. But that shelf was there. One day I was moving some things around, and I was moving the shelf that he had left. And as I moved this shelf, I realized that underneath it, the floor was as soft as you could imagine. I don't know what the shelf was sitting on. Apparently it was just on the right 2 boards, but it was rotten. Okay, so when you're 17 years old, that's how old I was when I moved out. When you're 17 years old and you find a soft spot in your trailer floor, what do you do? No, you slide the shelf back over it and you walk off. Pretend like you never saw it. That's exactly what I did. I just slid the shelf back over. I'm like, well, as you can imagine, a wet floor means there is a what? Leak somewhere. You guys got it. So the floor was leaking. It's coming, and as it was going across that hallway, eventually it just kept getting softer and softer, and you had to jump what I called the moat to get into the hallway, to get to my bedroom. So my buddies would come over, and I'd say, don't forget about the moat, guys. And somebody go in the restaurant, I'd say, hey, don't forget the moat. And it was just this little soft spot in the floor. It's a true story. It's more embarrassing to tell it now than I expected. Eventually, though, it became such a problem that I had to do something about it, right? So I think somebody actually put their foot through it a little bit and sort of like, hey, we got to handle this. So we started looking, and it turns out that the entire house was leaking all the way around. So something happened to the walls, like the joints. I don't know. I'm not a builder, guys, but basically it was leaking all the way around. So I called my grandpa, and me and my grandpa got out there, and we had to saw the walls all the way around the house and reflash slide metal up. It was a whole thing. This is what the point, guys. It cost lots of money. It cost lots of time, and it was a ton of work. It was a bad decision. You got it? Bad decision. Everybody good? Okay. Let me tell you about another one. As I had gotten out on my own, I was working full-time, like I said. Y'all remember all this? I was commuting full-time to college. I was hunting full-time, which meant that anytime I could sneak in and hunt, whether it was deer or turkeys or hogs or whatever, that's what I was doing. And in between classes even sometimes. And I was spending time with my girlfriend as long as her dad would let me at her house and then coming home. I decided that that was the perfect time for me to add one more commitment to my schedule. I decided it was time for me to be in charge of another living creature. I did. And so I got a beagle/basset hound. She was white and beautiful, and her name was Jessie. She's beautiful, I'm telling you. And I got Jessie from the vet clinic that I was working at the time, and I'll never forget, she had came in and they had told me about her, and they're like, Tim, you should go check her out. And they're like, man, she is so quiet and calm. And she doesn't chew. I mean, we have not seen her chew a thing. And as far as house training, she's young enough where you could probably house train her. So I took Jessie home, right? Because I needed this dog. I needed her. So I took her home to the 11 by 42, and turns out that the vet people thought she was quiet and calm because she was in a kennel with 30 or 40 other dogs. And that's the loudest place on earth. Jessie was not quiet and calm. She had a bark that was exactly what you would imagine a beagle and a basset hound would be. As far as the chewing goes, I think the reason they thought that was because there was nothing in her cage to chew. When she got to my house, everything was a bone. Everything. Couches, TV remotes, toilet paper. It was everything that you can imagine. And as far as house training goes, this is how I'll say it. I've had a lot of dogs. I feel like Jessie used the bathroom more than most. And she preferred the house. And is that clean enough? She preferred the house. So, and I'm a bachelor, and so y'all know how I probably handled all that, okay? The best that I could. And so I did that and took care of it. Jessie was a difficulty. Not only this, but because I was gone so much, and I was always in school, and I was always doing all these things, Jessie had to be kept up a lot. So when I would get home and I would let Jessie out, she had tons of energy. And I would just try to let her roam around the little neighborhood there where all the trailers were, and I'd let her go, and she would bring me all of my neighbors' things. I'm not kidding. This dog did it like it was her job. She went and brought me shoes, she brought me toys, she brought me car parts, she brought me everything there was. And I got in trouble quite a bit. I had people very upset at me, including my landlady. Jessie caused a lot of turmoil. Jessie was a bad decision. There's a time and place for serious commitments, and that definitely was not one of them. Last one. You ready? One more bad decision. Jessie and I had one thing in common. You know what it was? I called her a trash can dog because she loved eating trash. And when I first moved out, let me tell you how I ate. I ate trash. I ate absolutely. When I say I ate bad, what do y'all envision? All right, so if you're envisioning anything other than Viner wieners, Spam, and pork and beans every day, multiple times a day, you're on the wrong track. Okay, ramen became my best friend. I ate ramen all the time. I ate it every meal. And if I was going to splurge, I went to the grocery store and I got hot dog weenies and Kraft Singles cheese and pickles. I don't know why. That's just my mix. That's what I ate. I drank caffeine all the time. I mooched at the country cupboard where my girlfriend was working. And once a week or so, I would call my grandmother and I would have a hot wing and French fry night. That was like me eating good. It was like me going to her house and she would fry as many hot wings and French fries as she could for me, which was amazing. That's what I would do. I ate terrible. I could go days without eating, or I could gorge on food like you've never seen. That's how I ate. And it wasn't long, I'm not kidding, 17, 18 years old, that I started having some real health problems. I started having way bad high blood pressure. I started having heart episodes. I had to wear a 24-hour heart monitor. Then I had to wear a 30-day heart monitor. Then I had to go get EKGs, and I had to go get stress tests because my heart was doing so much funky stuff that I didn't know how to deal with it. I ate terrible. It was a lot of bad decisions. I'm saying bad decisions because I chose that food every day. Every Vienna was a bad decision. I learned very quickly that that what I put in my body affects how I feel, therefore how I do. And I'm not saying I've always done right, but it was a decision, and it's one that I made, and it was definitely a bad decision, the way I ate. Okay, so I've told you all a bunch of bad decisions. Can I tell you one good decision? Can I redeem myself? As your pastor, can I redeem myself with one good decision that I made in that time period? Because I've told you a bunch of bad ones. I told you a bunch of the PG ones, at least. The last decision I want to tell you about is really the simplest. After my first couple of years in college, I think I finally got my act together. I was doing well in school. School was pretty good. I was getting decent grades. I got my financial situation worked out. As a matter of fact, I'd gotten a new job, and I was making a lot more money, so I was able to kind of take a little better care of myself, take a little better care of everything else. Life was going pretty good. I had some money. I was paying my bills on time. I wasn't having any issues. I was decently healthy again. I started working out. I was doing fine in every aspect. I had a decent truck. I had a great girlfriend. We had dogs. I had dogs again. Just hunting dogs, a little different situation, made more sense. Everything was good. And I wasn't. I had it figured out. I was finally on my own and okay. And I wasn't okay. I felt empty. And this is how I describe it. I just wasn't happy. And it wasn't so much on the outside. I could laugh, I could cut up, I could have fun, I could do anything. But on the inside, when I got alone or when I got quiet or it got dark at night, I just didn't feel good about myself. I didn't feel like my life was good. And I wasn't okay. And I've told you guys this story before, but it was right around that time. I'm talking 2 years after high school that I wasn't okay. And I think Brittany noticed it. I think some friends noticed it. I think my family noticed it. And there was some people, they started pushing me to go to church. They said, Tim, we need to go. Brittany was saying, I think we need to go to church. And I had a friend that I was hunting with that said, man, you should come try our church. And so I came to Golden Corner Church. And I stayed here for a few months. And I just watched for a few months. And I listened to the preaching. And I listened to the worship. And I went to some classes that they were having on Wednesday night time. And I just listened. And all of a sudden I realized that even though I had figured out my life and I could do all these things on my own, that I was missing something. And I discovered what I was missing was Jesus. And I made a decision. That's what I realized. After a few months of being here, I realized in my heart, I said, I am on the cusp of another decision. Am I going to continue to try to live the life I can make, the life I'm capable of, or should I try to live the life He could make? Should I try to follow Him and let Him be in control of my life? Let Him tell me where it is I'm supposed to go and what I'm supposed to do, and I can rely on Him for everything, and I can prioritize my relationship with Him. So I had a big decision. I made a decision, and I made a good decision. I made the best decision I've ever made. So for those of you here today that you're graduating high school, or you're 20-something trying to build your life, or you're at the beginning of something new, I want to talk frankly with you. You're going to make all sorts of decisions. Here's a newsflash. You'll make some good ones, and you will make some bad ones. You just will. Because we're all dumb. You're going to make some bad decisions. But if I can encourage you in any decision, just one decision, it would be this. It would be to prioritize your relationship with Jesus. Because regardless of good decisions or regardless of bad decisions, what you will discover is He will make your life better. That's what He will do. He will make your life everything you ever dreamed of. You will feel successful and fulfilled and all those things if you trust Him in your life and you let Him be in control of your life. And you might say, Tim, what does that mean? What do you mean when you say, prioritize my relationship with Jesus, make my relationship with Jesus the most important thing as I head on this journey? What does that mean? This is what I think. Don't chunk Jesus under a shelf. Don't chunk him under a shelf. That's what we do. We head off on this new adventure, and it's so busy, and there's so much to do, and there's so many things to be thinking about, and there's so many new things that are just, lights and all this good stuff, that what we do is we chunk Jesus under a shelf, and we go, for the next year or two, I'm not going to think about him. Don't do that. Don't do that. He's valuable. He could really help you. Well, you don't want to get to a place where you're a year or two in, and all of a sudden you look back and go, man, having Jesus around really could have helped me. It really could have been beneficial. Don't chunk Jesus under a shelf. Take your soft spots to Jesus. Don't ignore the problems. Because I want to tell you something. As you start on this journey, you're going to be so surprised, but you're going to have problems. There are going to be little things that just pop up, little leaks that just happen in your life. And you're not going to know where they come from or how they do, and you might not have one clue on how you're supposed to deal with them. I want to tell you who knows how to deal with them. Jesus knows how to deal with them. A problem ignored is a problem multiplied. That is the truth. A problem ignored is a problem multiplied. So here's what you do. Take it to him. Talk to him about what's going on. And there's other ways to do that. And when I say that, I'm not just talking about prayer. Listen to sermons. Attend something regular, whether that's a life group or it's a class of some kind, or maybe you just have Christian friends and you rely on those Christian friends, but have people who are honest with you, but have people in your life who can help hold you accountable so that when you run into these problems, you can talk to them and you can see if Jesus can help y'all sort this thing out. That's what you need. And you need to have people in your life who aren't afraid to challenge you. You know how many? I wish I'd have had a friend that came over there at the house and seen that soft spot on the floor and said, hey, man, should we do something about this? But they just hopped over it with me. Let Jesus choose your Jessies. On occasion, this is what you'll discover in your life if you're anything like me. Eventually, your wanter gets hung up. That's what I say. That's my phrase. Your wanter gets hung up. And you just want this and want that, and you say yes to this and you say yes to that, and you want to do this and you want to do that, and eventually you have committed yourself too much. Most people, on average, look back. Graduates, y'all listen to me? Most people look back every 6 months and they realize they have overcommitted themselves. They're overwhelmed, they're run down, and they're exhausted. And then they fix it, and then they go another 6 months saying yes to everything, and then we have to do that restart again and go, I gotta get rid of this, I gotta get rid of that. That's how most people live. Don't do that. Let Jesus be in charge of choosing your Jessies. Before you commit to anything and before you say yes to things, take it to him and let him decide. Say, God, is this something that I should be committing to? Is this something I should be taking my time to do? And you pray about it and you spend time with him, and eventually you'll feel what is right. Let Jesus choose your Jessies. Last one, you ready? Consider Jesus when picking your meals. Consider Jesus when picking your meals. Just listen to me. You said, Tim, you talking burgers, hot wings, French fries, Viennas? Is that what you're talking about? No, that's not what I'm talking about. I told you what I discovered is what I ingest determines how I feel. What I take in determines how I feel. What you take in spiritually, what you take in mentally, what you take in physically, it affects you. It affects your life. I think you should consider Jesus with what you're taking in. You should consider Jesus with the people that you're hanging around. You should consider Jesus with the advice that you're heeding and the voices that you're listening to. You should consider Jesus with the media that you're taking into your life. So I'm going to tell you that it's a proven fact. If all you hear is negative all the time, you're going to be negative. And if all you hear and think and talk about is bad all the time, you're going to feel bad. Let Jesus choose your meals. The best decision you could ever make is to prioritize your relationship with Jesus as you head into any journey, because I'm telling you, he knows the way. He is the way. And he'll make the way for you. That's true. Let me pray for you. Father, I thank you so much for this morning. I thank you for just the opportunity to talk, man, just to talk to you and talk to them. Talk to every single person that's here. I'm excited for our graduates, the 2 that are here in this service, the 10 that are going to be in the next service. But I'm excited for every single person here that may find themselves beginning a journey, figuring out what their first steps are in their life, trying to build their life. I know this, a life built on you is the best life we can build. Otherwise, everything's up to what we're capable of. We can be as happy as we can make ourselves. We can be successful as we can make ourselves. We can be as fulfilled as we can make ourselves. God, I want us to be more than that. I want the life you want for me. I want to be as successful as you want me to be. I want to be as fulfilled as you want me to be. I want to be as joyful as you want me to be. I want to rely on you for all that stuff because I know for a fact that what this Bible teaches and what I have experienced is a life with you is the best life of all. And that's what I pray for them. Father, we love you. Help us to celebrate this weekend. Celebrate Memorial Day. Keep everyone safe. And Jesus' name, everybody says, amen. Thank you guys so much for being here. We hope you have a great week. We'll see you soon.